Good day, everyone. Today, I am going to discuss about Module 3 na. Okay? It is about learning to be a better student and managing and caring for the self. So, you might be wondering why I'm discussing now the Module 3. It's because I'll be discussing the last part for Module 2, the material self, next week or next week before our fashion show so that you will know the criteria. Yeah, the criteria for your performance during the fashion show. So let me first discuss this one. Okay. Let me ask you first, what happens during learning? Do you have any idea about this? A student can spend as little as 5 to as much as 10 hours a day studying. When we study, we try to learn new things or relearn topics which we seem to have forgotten. Oftentimes, we do it without even paying attention to how we learn or what is really happening to us when we are studying. To have a better appreciation of this, let us look into the changes that happen in the brain when we learn or practice something. So, I'll be discussing um, something about brain today, okay? So, hopefully, by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to say, "Go, you beautiful brain, you." Mm. So, as babies, our brain develops at a rapid rate as a result of experience. At birth, babies have about 100 billion neurons in their brain. That's as many neurons in the brain as there are stars in the Milky Way. Babies have more neurons than adults. Much of the baby's neurons are pruned or fade away over time because they are not used or are not necessary. So, changes in the brain, producing and reproducing neurons and neural connections happen until adulthood. Okay? So, what happens when we learn something for the first time? Hmm. So when you learn something for the first time, it is typically hard because your neurons are still not connected to each other as well. This means it takes some time for them to communicate with each other. Neurons communicate with each other through chemical messengers. So action potentials and the nitty-gritty of neural communication is interesting, but it is beyond the scope of this class. And if you are really interested in learning about that, then you search about this, about the action potential or and the neural connect communication. Okay? So let me explain this first. The sending the sending neuron sends a signal to a receiving neuron, which travels from their cell body down to a long tail-like structure called the axon. Once it reaches the axon, this message triggers the release of chemical messengers. These messengers then leap through the space between neurons called the synaptic gap. This causes the next cell to fire and so on and so forth. Okay? So neural communication happens very fast at the rate of about 200 times per second. See, fast yun siya, guys. Basically, neurons are chattier than you and your best friend. Yes, guys. This is also the reason why you find it hard to understand new material. Like this one. Okay, but this is a new material if you're not familiar with this. Your neurons are still warming up to each other before they can do the fast talk. So, learning something for the first time activates brain areas which are dedicated to focused attention. So, basically, learning something new requires all your concentration on the subject at hand. And your brain helps you do exactly that. However, your neural connection is still slower than it could be. This is because a network or a fast lane is still not established. But as the neurons fire together, they, they connections get rewired and strengthened, making their connection faster and more efficient. Okay. It is the same thing with it's, strangers or your classmate, you still get to know each other. So you do not easily communicate well. You do not understand yet what he or she's saying yet because you don't have that neural connection pa. Diba? You are not that close pa, something na. So, but if you are getting closer than there, diba? Like, isang kidhat lang, malalaman mo na anong meaning ng kanyang sinasabi, something like that. Okay? So, next. Do I continue learning even in sleep? Yes, researchers found that getting enough sleep can dramatically improve learning. Sumuna siya. It is very important to sleep. Restorative sleep is associated with learning becoming encoded from short-term memory to long-term memory. Thus, when sleeping, it becomes easier for us to remember the things we learn. 'Di ba? So while we sleep, the part of the brain involved in memory, the hippocampus, fires in reverse. Okay? When firing in reverse, the neurons find it hard to receive signals from its neighbors and giving it a chance to recharge. So once it recharges, it fires signals to its neighbors much stronger than before. Okay, nakasleep man, di ba? So cells involved in learning new material are more likely to fire in reverse during sleep. This boosted learning and wired neurons together. So it is really important to sleep. But since because we are already in college, I know it is hard to sleep, especially if deadlines are coming, like exams are coming, but still you need to sleep. Okay. Next. So what happens when we continue to do something we have learned? Continuing to practice a skill makes neurons fire faster. The glial cells, which wrap around the axon, there are, it was in being encircled, the red one, the glial cells is, the axon is that long-tailed, and the one who is covering that one is the glial cells. Wrap around the axon like an insulation eventually grows the more cells fire. This produces a thicker myelin sheath, which helps the signals jump between nodes instead of traveling a straight line. So it will just jump because it was being covered. Produces a thicker myelin sheath. Okay. As we get to practice the new skill or learning more, neurons eventually need less energy to chat because they now have a better connection. So, research has shown that as we get more used to doing a new task, the brain region and focused attention becomes less stimulated. Instead, brain regions associated with daydreaming become more active. So, another studies have shown that the more we practice a skill, the less effort and attention we need to do them. Athletes and musicians, for example, find that when they try to think a lot about the skill they have mastered, they tend to make more mistakes. Diba? So thus, when a skill is mastered, one can simply do it without thinking about it. And this is a desired state of doing called flow. In athletes and musicians, this is what they call the zone. Actually, if you're in the zone when you're an athlete, you're you're already an experienced state in intense focus, deep immersion, and effortless execution. You are very calm. You have the clarity. It's like you are in the podium ba? 'Di ba? Your body. Podium, na karon, dagan-dagan. Okay, next. So, f- flow, being in the zone, 'di ba? It is a mental state of being immersed in activity, being fully engaged, involved, and enjoyed by it. So, ano lang. So, it has also been found that when learning is distributed across time rather than just jamming it on one go, is more effective to encode it in the long-term memory. That is, cramming might help you remember stuff now, but it does not help to store the information in your memory bank. Learning takes time. After all, and this has been proven by science, it is possible that with discontinued use of these neural connections, you will eventually lose them. So, in summary, guys, the brain is like a dense forest. So when learning a new skill, you're still just making a new trail or new connections and have difficulty navigating it. So over time, this trail becomes more prominent and efficient in practice, making learn skills easier. So practice makes it easier. Okay? So you practice that. Therefore, use your brain, guys. Okay? Do not always depend to, na AI or what. Next, let's now go to setting goals. Okay. The importance of setting goals. Goals are an important part of our daily lives, and the focus and grit to act upon them always gets us one step closer to success. With goals, we become driven and directed in our actions. We become motivated to succeed. Completing previous goals inspires to work hard, leading to higher motivation to achieve future goals. Thus, it is important for us to know how to make good goals. Goals that are inspiring, realistic, and can be acted upon. Okay? What are your goals? Next. So the goal setting theories. Okay? Self-efficacy theory by Bandura. Self efficacy is the belief in one's ability to influence events that affect one's life and control over the way these events are experienced. Students with a stronger sense of self efficacy are more intrinsically motivated to finish difficult tasks. There are four ways actually to build self efficacy according to Bandura. First is mastery experiences. Experiences we gain when we succeed on a new challenge. To do this, one must exert effort to accomplish realistic but challenging goals by overcoming obstacles and failures through effort and perseverance. Okay? So you have to master whatever experiences that you are or the challenges that you are going to face. Especially right now. So what are your experiences? Okay? Next, social modeling. You observe people, example, role models, who demonstrate the task well and can demonstrate self efficacy. Okay, so you observe other people and how they do it. Okay, if this is their ways, then you try to follow their ways. If it's good for you, if it's applicable for you, okay, so that your self efficacy will be boosted. Okay. Third would be social persuasion. Having others, example, peers, family, teachers, your coaches, influence our self efficacy by getting mastery opportunities in a safe and purposeful manner. Okay? Diba? They can influence our family, they can influence our our self-efficacy. Fourth is the states of physiology. Physiology. How you feel about being able to do a task is affected by your mood and emotion. When you're affected feeling, when you're affected feeling down, your confidence will also be affected. Conversely, when you are feeling well, your confidence will be boosted. So it depends on your how you think about your mood and emotion. It's state of physiology. So if you keep on thinking negatively that you cannot do a certain task, then diba, it will it will what? It will affect your self-confidence. It will lower your self-confidence, okay? So but if you think that you can do it, I can do it even if it's hard, then 'di ba, your confidence will be boosted, then your self-efficacy, 'di ba? Na-build mo self-efficacy. So I hope that through these are the four ways in building your self-efficacy. You have to master experiences. You need to have a social model, role models, and be mindful of your social persuasion, 'di ba? Who are you with? There, who are the people that surrounds you because they can influence whatever your mood, your emotion, whatever you're thinking, and your states of physiology, this is you, okay? This is how you think about the task. So if it's difficult, then if you're not that you are very negative about it, then certainly you will not be able to produce a good a good output, 'di ba? So you have to think about it. Okay, I know that being a student is very hard during these days, during this time, especially what is, 'di ba? Especially the world that is happening right now. It's very hard to deal with something, and you have your own problems. But mind you, so that you have to build yourself kasi so that also you can, bounce back whatsoever. Next, let's proceed to Dweck's mindset theory. So, people have underlying beliefs people have about learning and intelligence. So, when we talk about growth mindset, it reflects beliefs about learning and intelligence as variable and capable of being influenced through learning, effort, training, and practice. Okay? When we talk about a fixed mindset, reflects beliefs about learning and intelligence as fixed and unchangeable. So let me give you an example for this. Okay. Mm. This mindset, according to Dweck, influences a person's motivation to practice and learn. Yes. So, for example, a student with a fixed mindset is likely to believe that no matter how hard they study, their effort only get them so far. In contrast to those with a great growth mindset, believe that they can improve and get better over time. So, di ba? If you have a fixed mindset, it is what it is, then it is. Something like that. If if you think that you cannot do it, then you cannot do it. You will just be stuck in there. Okay? So for those with fixed mindset, feedback is interesting only to the point that it describes your ability. Those with the growth mindset feel accomplished when learning something, even if feedback is not good and failure happens from time to time. So I hope that you'll be able to develop a growth mindset, guys. That you can do something about it. If it's hard, then you can do something on it. Perseverance, guys. Okay? You need to have a growth mindset, especially you're in college. Because as you, diba, you get into second year, third year, my God, it's getting harder now. So I hope that you have to practice a growth mindset now na. Yeah, especially you are in MSU IIT. A lot is happening, okay? Especially right now, di ba? We don't have classrooms. So, I don't know, laban lang kita, guys. Anyway, now let me proceed to another theory. Locke's goal setting theory. Setting specific and measurable goals. Example, I will get at least 80% correct on the next quiz, or I will study one chapter today, is better and more motivating than general goals. Example, I will do my best, I will study more, check ko lang, eme lang, di ba? So it should be, if you will set a goal, it should be specific and measurable. So it should, and you are really capable of achieving that one. It's use a smart, okay? So Inani, I hope that you have this goal setting. Okay, Locke and Latham's five principles of goal setting. First is clarity. So your goal should have a clarity. The goal must be specific and clear. Okay, so if you want to finish, if you want to pass this, diba, pass this subject, then what are you going to do? Should be specific and clear. What are the rules Mom Marge has given us? Okay. Second, challenge. Goals must be challenging but realistic. Okay. So you have to do something about it. Okay. So if you have a goal, you know, if you have goals, it should be challenging. Okay. But it should also be realistic. Dili lang na siya beyond na. Okay. Commitment. You should have a commitment. You have to believe the goal you put in the right at the beginning. You should be committed to your goals, okay? It should be important because if you are not committed to your goals, then you will not do something about it. You will not make an effort about it, okay? Because you are not really committed. The same with relationships. So have a relationship with your goals, okay? Next is feedback. You must be able to get regular feedback throughout the entire process to keep the goal on track. So you have to think about it. Is this good or whatsoever? Task complexity. Plan your timetable realistically. If a goal is too big, break it down to smaller parts, okay? So, example, you want to become a summa cum laude, then you have to break down to smaller parts how to achieve that goals of yours, which is very big, diba? It's too big. So, first, you should have deadlines, learning goal orientation leads to higher performance, then performance goal orientation, then group goal setting is as important as individual goal setting. Okay. So, notice that in none of these theories do the proponents suggest that the human brain is inflexible and incapable of innovation. In the same way, when studying, learners are capable of adjusting their behaviors in order to improve their beliefs about their capability, their intelligence, their effort, and the way they set their goals. Okay. So, this one, I want you to write it down. And I want you to submit this on next week during our class. We have an activity about this. What are your strengths and weaknesses as a student? So you have to write this down. Okay? What are your strengths and weaknesses as a student? You have to write this in a 1/4 sheet of paper. You have to write your name and then your section. Okay? Clear? Next. Metacognition. By definition, cognition, knowing what, how, and how to do. So metacognition is thinking about thinking. So knowing what one already knows and what needs to be done. In order to have better learning strategies, one must know their strengths, weaknesses, and resources they have, which will help in learning. Also, what needs to be done to learn the task or skill. Okay? Second, knowing how to apply them to do the task. After evaluating what one has and what one needs to do, learning the task involves being able to apply one's resources to learn the task or skill. Okay? Lastly, knowing how to do them efficiently. Moreover, it is not just enough to do them, but know how to do them efficiently and correctly. Okay? So, in layman's term, guys, metacognition is thinking about thinking. You think about how you can best think or learn about a particular topic or skill using what you already have. Okay? So, it involves self regulation and self reflection of strengths, weaknesses, and the types of strategies you create. So, when we talk about self regulation, it monitors and control of all aspects of human functioning. Okay? So, some benefits of practicing metacognition is helping learners monitor their own progress and take control of their learning. Okay? So, if if you know what you are thinking, then 'di ba? You'll be able to control the situation, and it will also help you. It will also help you compensate for any cognitive limitations one may have, 'di ba? So if you're aware of your if you're aware of your capabilities, then 'di ba? Then you will know your cognitive limitation, and you can do something about it. Then you have to what? Maybe to study more or ask help from other people, something like that. And also improves academic achievement. Because if you are thinking about what you are thinking, it is clear for you that, diba, this is what I lack, this is what I'm good at, then it improves your academic achievement because you will know on what to do. If you're having a difficulty in math, then what are you going to do? You will do like what? Tutor from your classmates or ask something about, okay? At the end of that day, you have and what? It will improve your academic achievement or your grades or your performance in math. Something like that. Lastly, it also helps learners to transfer what they know from one context to the next. Okay? That is the most important thing about metacognition. I hope that you will apply this. Okay. Anyway, so how to practice metacognitive strategies. First, plan your learning. Select which strategies work best for you. Decide on how much time to do a task and gather what you need with what you have to start learning. So you need to plan your learning, guys. Dili lang kay aon niya ara kung ano. You really have to plan it. Dili lang kay mag-aon niya ara ko. Manana habit, procrastination. No, you have to plan it, okay? Whatever that, especially you have to have a strategies that best work for you. So you have to be aware about it. You have to be aware, diba, that if you are good in studying a week before, during a week before the exam, then do it. And there are some also, anyway, there are some who are really good in cramming, but mind you, diba, I told you that if if it's cramming mo good, it will not stored in your long-term memory. So there's a big possibility that you will not remember it after the exam. And then, hello, if you're studying, it will somehow repeat the topics, especially you're in your major, the context, the theories. You need to learn it, man yun. So, diba? Do not cram it, guys. Plan your learning. Next, check your progress. Try to see if what you have decided to use or do is helping you, whether it is effective or not. If not, do some changes until you find a system that works for you. Your emotions and feelings are usually a good feedback system to help understand your progress and expectations. So, try to check your progress, okay? So, if you do this, like if you cram, then you fail, then you have to check your progress. Oh my God, you have to do something about it. You go back to plan your learning. Okay? You have to be aware of the strategies or yeah, the strategies that will help you to want to pass the exam, whatsoever. Okay? Next is evaluate. Check the final product. Did you meet your goal? Were you able to maximize what you have to learn, what you needed? So, these three guys, you plan your learning, you check your progress, if you are improving or what, then you evaluate or the product, failure or what, okay? So, some study tips on time management. So, try to think about the following over the week. How are you using your time? Okay? How are you using your time now? So you need to identify your weaknesses. Try to note, try to note how much time you spend doing each task and the times of the day when you feel most energetic or productive. Design a better schedule. Plan your goals per week and for the semester. In your plan, include where you will have your family time, self time, and other activities. Okay? You have to manage your time. How you are using your time, design a better schedule. So some study tips on time management, make every minute of your study time count. Okay? Take notes that work for you. Eliminate distractions. Set specific unrealistic daily goals to help you focus on your tasks. When you achieve your daily goals, reward yourself with something that you value. Okay? Revising your schedule. Allocate extra study time for more difficult subjects, less time for easier ones. Make sure your schedule is not too ambitious. Gradually establish a schedule that will be effective for the long term. So, what about you? What specific what specific learning strategies work for you? So, this is you plan your week, guys. 1 to 7. Next is the sample, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, o name, something inana. Okay? Inana. And the end. Thank you, guys.